On the morning of January 15, 1947, a mother taking her child for a walk in a Los Angeles neighborhood stumbled upon a gruesome sight: the body of a young naked woman, sliced clean in half at the waist. The body was just a few feet from the sidewalk, and posed in such a way that the mother reportedly thought it was a mannequin at first glance. Despite the extensive mutilation and cuts on the body, there wasn't a drop of blood at the scene, indicating that the young woman had been killed elsewhere. The ensuing investigation was led by the LA Police Department. The FBI was asked to help, and it quickly identified the body just 56 minutes. In fact, after getting blurred fingerprints via sound photo, a primitive fax machine used by news services from Los Angeles.xt, the young woman turned out to be a 22-year-old Hollywood hopeful named Elizabeth, short later dubbed the Black Dahlia by the press for her rumored penchant for sheer black clothes and for the Blue Dahlia movie out at that time. Short's prints actually appeared twice in the FBI's massive collection. More than 100 million were on file at the time. First, she had applied for a job as a clerk at the commissary of the Army's Camp Cook in California in January 1943. Second, she had been arrested by the Santa Barbara police for underage drinking 7 months later. The Bureau also had her mugshot in its files and provided it to the press. In support of LA police, the FBI ran records checks on potential suspects and conducted interviews across the nation, based on early suspicions that the murderer may have had skills in dissection because the body was so cleanly cut. Agents were also asked to check out a group of students at the University of Southern California Medical School. And, in a tantalizing potential break in the case, the Bureau searched for a match to fingerprints found on an anonymous letter that may have been sent to authorities by the killer, but the prints weren't in FBI files. The notoriety of Short's murder has spurred a large number of confessions over the years, many of which have been deemed false. During the initial investigation, police received a total of 60 confessions, most made by men. Since that time, over 500 people have confessed to the crime, many of whom had not even been born at the time of her death. Sergeant John P. St. John, an LAPD detective who worked the case until his retirement, stated, "It is amazing how many people offer up a relative as the killer." In 2003, Ralph Asdell, one of the original detectives on the case, told The Times that he believed he had interviewed Short's killer, a man who had been seen with his sedan parked near the crime scene in the early morning hours of January 15, 1947. A neighbor, driving by that day, stopped to dispose of a bag of lawn clippings in the lot when he saw a parked sedan, allegedly with its right rear door open. The driver of the sedan was standing in the lot. His arrival apparently startled the owner of the sedan, who approached his car and peered in the window, before returning to the sedan and driving away. The owner of the sedan was followed to a local restaurant where he worked, but was ultimately cleared of suspicion. Although he was never formally charged in the crime, George Hodel came to wider attention after his death when he was accused by his son, LAPD homicide detective Steve Hodel, of killing Short and committing several additional murders. George Hodel was suspected, but not charged, in the death of his secretary, Ruth Spalding, and was accused of raping his own daughter Tamar, but acquitted. Hodel fled the country several times and lived in the Philippines between 1950 and 1990. Additionally, Steve Hodel has cited his father's training as a surgeon as circumstantial evidence. In 2003, it was revealed in notes from the 1949 grand jury report that investigators had wiretapped George Hodel's home and obtained recorded conversation of him with an unidentified visitor, saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's dead. Who killed the Black Dahlia and why? It's a mystery. The murderer has never been found, and given how much time has passed, probably never will be." The legend grows.